council, I'm going to be home. I'm going to stay home for these funerals. Use travel. Use go to battle for this community. I put them in and trust them. They're going to do, they're after our best interest. So I am going to stay home during this time. I will be in the community because the community needs me right now, and it needs this table, and it needs all of us right now. So let's keep our people, our families in our thoughts today, because we've all of us in this room have been impacted by this one loss or another. So God bless you, Opaskwayak. I just thought as your leader, I'd give you a convenient update of what this table is moving into the future. So we'll get started, Buff. Wherever you are. Oh yeah, you're having a nap, eh?
Thank you very much, Chief, for waking me up. We're going to start the proceedings for this morning. We've had we need an opening prayer. I'm going to ask Reverend Gloria LaValle to come and open the meeting. The Bepasti Tenak Mamopin. And Yawanese.
Thank you, Shorty. And thank you, Chief, for the words of encouragement for everyone. So whenever we're somewhere, and when we get up, we need to say prayers. We need to acknowledge our Creator in our lives. So let us pray. Keseman tu kenanas komit na nanusut taga pesi yag. Ese pape guak magita keskenomo yag tan sisian matati sa meno panekti tawen. Ego si kines penemuto tata agenagagon ketanaga chistamo yag. Tanagat siat minoge magan ego onaswen newag. Etutage go tatos kay newawa ninano ucha. Kagena uyag esa puucha tati sa meno panek. Ego tatuga wania agok keteak ego mina kasagia agok. Miesta muageg hanuts tawicha wachak. Tagiskeni tageg that you are the Almighty God, Jesus our Creator. May you be with us in this meeting, that everything will go well, and also to show the 7 sacred teachings that you taught us to live our lives by, so that we can live in unity and work beside each other and to make things better for the future generations. Thank you, Lord Jesus. Be with us now as we pray in your name. Amen.
Reverend, we have a set of rules or guidelines to follow for this meeting. I'll do them in a bit. Right now, we need a Cree word of the day, so I'll take it upon myself to provide the Cree word of the day, Kistenemittuin, respect, Kistenemittuin. And before I go through the guidelines, I'm going to introduce council members to you, and they can come and make their comments. And what portfolios they hold and things like that. I'll start to my left here, who I can see, Councillor Derek Constant. One thing I liked about Chief's presentation when he mentioned the new care home and the VLTs. I'll be the first one in there playing the machines.
Thank you there, Shorty. Good morning, everybody. It's nice to see OCN members attending. I know there's a lot of workers in here, but you're also membership too, so remember that when you're here, because don't be afraid to ask those questions. Because when it's election time, we remember you as a membership, so don't forget that. And also, thank you, Chief, for those comments. I'll make it nice and short. I won't talk long like him, because he covered most of the bases. And also, thank you, Ulu, Jennifer, and your team. And thank you. I believe Government Services set up the hall. It looks really nice. Thank you to the cooks for a good breakfast. And also, let's have a good day today. Let's have a positive meeting because in the end, this is for everybody. This is for the future too. Because what we're doing here today is for everybody. So, with that being said, thank you very much and have a good day.
Thank you very much, Councillor Conson. Councillor Frank Young.
That's all right, Shirley. Thanks, Shirley. Everybody knows me as Relic, anyways. I'm Frank Young, Councillor Portfolios, Government Service, Lands, and Rod McGilvery. I'd like to welcome everybody to the AGA, especially the ones are online, off reserve members. You all matter to us as well, especially with the ones here today. Would be nice to see the youth here because we like to listen to their input. They have new things on their minds that they want OCN for them to do in the evening times. As you all are aware that we had a huge youth hockey and volleyball tournament this weekend held by Savannah and her family. And it was great to watch hockey all day, but there was nothing to do at night for them was the thing. But the table up here and the chief, we're trying hard to get things here for the kids and for the elders. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Councillor Young. We have Councillor Lori Laughlin.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Councillor Lori Laughlin. I'm happy to be here today. I'm happy to see you all. I know what it's like to work in the administration. I've worked 31 years myself in land management. The portfolios I hold are lands and natural resources, PBDC, elders, and I've recently been added to government services. So feel free to ask questions. The work you do is only going to help OCN move forward, and we greatly appreciate that. So thank you, and I'm happy to see you all here. Eguse.
Thank you very much, Councillor Lori Laughlin. Councillor Joe Partridge.
Good morning. Just a background story. I worked with OCN, this is about 3 years ago, with the Community Services Program. And in that office, Lester Constant was our boss, but I had the pleasure of working with Mike Gooch and Maku and myself. And we talked a lot about the things that were going on our reserve, how to make things better, and provide those services, that direction. And we always talked, and sometimes you can tell Maku to slow down a bit because he always had ideas. And I'm thankful that we're sitting here at this table. So we'll talk more about those ideas, but more so that reality of making those things be real, to come true. Not just for myself or for any of us at this table, but for a community. I sit on a couple of committees, Government Services, Health, and Director of Social Development. So for those of you that don't know, I'm a single child of a single parent. And that's what we grew up on, was on social assistance till I was 17, and then I finished my education and I got on the workforce. And I wanted to do better for myself. And as I got older, we had children, and then we had grandchildren. So I want to do better for myself, for my children, and for my grandchildren. And along that way, I want to do better for OCN, because we've sure come a long way. Because I remember being with my grandfather. He had a team of horses in his wagon. And in my yard, I have 3 vehicles, so that's a long ways from coming from somewhere. So I'm here, I'm available. I bring, I worked off reserve for many years, so I bring my experience and my contacts and those that I know within the government to help us in this work that we do to achieve those goals, so that we work together. Hey, thank you.
Thank you, Joe. Councillor Joe Partridge. Councillor Chipper Young. Chris Young.
Good morning, everybody. I'd like to thank all of you for coming out to hear this presentation of the audit. It's been a long time coming to hear the good news of our hard work of our financial team, Ulo and his team, Jen, everybody that's involved. The one thing that we've been working hard is that for infrastructure is that we're getting a new paved road on Kichi. And that will be starting on after May long weekend. So we're going to need some people to start going out to E&T to put their resumes in, so you get some workers, because you're going to need a lot of workers out there. Plus with the tech walk or the training facility that's coming, they're going to be needing workers there too. That's going to be starting this spring, early summer. There's going to be lots happening out in OCN, because all the work that we did as the chief and council and all the EDs that are involved, especially with the transload and everything that's going to come. It's going to be a great summer of being a OCN member. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor Young. Councillor John Paul Martin.
Good morning, everyone. My portfolios are Opaskwayak Education, Opaskwayak Child and Family Services, the Rod McGilvery Care Home, and I represent OCN at the TLEC Committee. A quick update on the TLEC Committee. We met last week at a court hearing, and the judge asked the Canada's lawyer, it's been 30 years, how much longer does it take to settle this? So for me and for the chiefs and councillors that were representing the 14 and 12 First Nations, that's good news, you know, because that forces Canada back to the table to continue negotiations. So hopefully we'll have a settlement by, you know, a year or two. This weekend, I guess, don't forget to tune into Facebook to watch the OCN Storm as they play games 3 and 4 against Norrie House, trying to defend their title. And yeah, have a good day, everyone.
Thank you very much, Councillor John Paul Martin. Councillor Justin Spence.
Thank you there, Shorty Bluff. Morning, everybody. Councillor Justin Spence, portfolios is Child and Family Services. Under Child and Family Services, we have been working on the We'll Go To in Law for the past 5 years. That's for protection to all our children all over Canada, whether, like I said, it's all over Canada. The chief mentioned my other portfolio is the Opaskwayak Business Development Corporation. The chief mentioned that apartments we're working on. We have one on Yonge Street. He said like Marion, couple on Marion, and the new Bridgewater coming up. So these are all affordable units that I'm going to make sure that our citizens residing in Winnipeg get the first choice to those affordable units. Like John Paul said, the Storm are on the road this weekend. We're also board members there. Shorty, I'd like to thank Shorty for the MC, Gloria for the opening prayer, and the sound man there. And welcome everybody online. Good to see you guys there, and good to see everybody here. And Shorty will make sure you get one of those machines put in your room at the new care home. Right on. Thank you very much.
Thank you. You all heard that, eh? Councillor Dale Knudsen.
Danse, Dawal, Kitam, Dale Knudsen, Nigasen. Thought I would open up with a little bit of Cree that I'm trying to learn there. I made a vow to keep trying to ask questions our language, and wanted to welcome everybody here. Welcome everybody, and thank you to the staff for putting this beautiful display here today for our members to come meet at our AGA. And everybody on online, welcome you to our information session here at OCN. I'd also like to thank the cooks, the elder for singing our prayer, Shorty for our MC. I wanted to kind of mention the boards that I sit on is health is my main portfolio. Health is my main portfolio. I just talk slower. And I also sit on with Treasury Board, OES, and CFS. So those are pretty busy boards. We're always trying to look for new ways to provide better services for our community members on and off reserve. I don't know if I might have missed it if our chief didn't brought up the we're going to have an office in Winnipeg, a sub office in Winnipeg, and also we'll be meeting with Ottawa in a couple of weeks from now to go talk about our cows and plows and stuff like that. You know, we have a lot of possible funding coming into our community with TLE, cows and plows, 4Bay. Am I missing another one? On population, they didn't give us the right amount for the population, and with our our funding agreement. So there's a lot of opportunity coming here in the next little bit, and it'd be very helpful for our band members to guide us on what services they need and what they want to see in our community. I know we have all the plans and all these ideas, and as chief and council, but you're the true bosses. You're our leaders. We look to you for guidance. We look, you know, a lot of our ideas come from you. You know, the ideas I bring to the table are not mine. They're ideas and concerns from the band members that I talk to on a daily basis. So just see, you know, all the plans that come through are not ours, it's yours. We're following through with your goals and your ambitions, your plans. We're your servants in the community, going around from meeting to meeting, rushing around. You know, it's we take a lot of time from our families. But I wouldn't be anywhere else, and I wouldn't do anything else. I love working for our community. You guys are an amazing people to work for. So I wanted to end that off with a thank you. Can I ask me now? Thank you, everybody on Facebook World or online, and everybody here. Thank you for showing up.
Thank you very much, Councillor. Before I introduce your next speaker, I want to go through the rules and procedures first, Jennifer. The Opaskwayak Cree Nation Community Meeting Guidelines are the presentation to ensure a respectful and productive meeting for everyone. Please follow these guidelines. Meeting expectations: respect all speakers. Listen without interrupting. Allow each person to finish before responding. Speak one at a time. Wait to be recognized before speaking. Use respectful language and tone. No personal attacks, raised voices, or disruptive behavior. Stay on topic. Keep comments relevant to the audit and discussion. All questions are welcome. We encourage open and honest dialogue. Be mindful of time. Allow space for others to speak and participate. Follow cultural protocols. Respect elders, knowledge keepers, and community practices. Conduct during the meeting. Disruptive behavior will not be tolerated. This includes interrupting, disrespectful comments, or preventing others from participating. Enforcement. Participants who do not follow these guidelines may receive a verbal reminder and/or be asked to leave the meeting if the behavior continues. And in closing, we are here to share information, listen, and work together for the benefit of Opaskwayak Cree Nation. Thank you very much for your respect and participation. Before the audit, I'm going to call up Chief Executive Officer Jennifer Lavallee-Bignell to make some comments, and then we'll go right into the 24-25 consolidated audit report.
Thank you, Shorty. Tanse, good morning, everyone. On behalf of the leadership of OCN, it is my honor to welcome you to the 2026 Annual General Assembly. Thank you for taking the time to be here today. Your presence reflects the strength, unity, and commitment of our community. Today, we gather not only to reflect on the past fiscal year, but to present the 2024-2025 audited financial statements and to continue building a shared vision for the future of OCN. I would like to begin by recognizing the tremendous work completed by our CFO, Ulu, and the entire finance team. Their diligence, professionalism, and commitment to transparency have ensured that we continue to operate with accountability and integrity. I also want to extend appreciation to Dion Bird and the auditing firm Baker Tilly for their thorough and independent audit of our financials. I would also like to acknowledge Councillor Derek Constant, Chairman of the Treasury Board, along with Treasury Board members Clarence Constant, Norman McKenzie, and Mary Jane Jebb, as well as Portfolio Councillors Chris Young and Dale Knutson. Your oversight and governance are critical in guiding the financial direction of our nation. To Chief Constant and members of Council, J.P. Martin, Justin Spence, Joe Partridge, Franklin Young, and Lori Laughlin, thank you for your continued leadership, dedication, and commitment to serving the people of OCN. We are also honored by the presence of our elders and community members, including Treasury Board Elder Jerry Henderson. Your wisdom, guidance, and participation are the foundation of everything that we do. Thank you for being here with us today. To our executive directors, thank you for your leadership across your respective branches. And to all staff, your hard work turns plans into reality. You are the driving force behind the progress we see in our community every day. At the same time, we pause to acknowledge that today is also a time of remembrance for several families in our community. We extend our heartfelt condolences to the family of the late Gordon Constant, whose funeral is being held this afternoon. We also extend our sympathies to the family of the late MLA Amanda Laughlin, whose funeral will take place this Saturday afternoon. At this time, I would like to ask everyone to join me in a moment of silence in honor of the ones that I mentioned, also the late Josh Laughlin, as well as the late William Budd, and all the families who are grieving. Thank you. As we move forward today, let us ground ourselves in Minopamatisuen, the good life, and the 7 sacred teachings: love, respect, courage, honesty, wisdom, humility, and truth. These teachings guide our leadership, our decisions, and our responsibilities to one another. As we move forward today, let us remember that our strength lies in our unity, our resilience, and our shared vision. The work we are doing together is building a strong and sustainable future for OCN, not only for today, but for the generations that will follow. The future of OCN is bright, with continued collaboration, accountability, and respect for one another. There is truly no limit to what we can achieve. Thank you, and I wish you all a productive and meaningful assembly. Egwese, tapo egiche.
Okay, thank you very much, Jennifer. Next, I'll call on our final speaker for the morning, our Chief Financial Officer, Ulu. Sorry, Ulu, I can't say your full name. After Ulu's comments, then we'll go right into the audit report. Dion's right behind you there.
Thank you very much. We'll just be talking in numbers, so we'll go straight into the numbers. All right, Dion. Wonderful.
Wonderful. Good morning, and thank you for the opportunity to come speak to the community to review the March 31st, 2025 audit for OCN. So what I wanted to do is start by reviewing the audit report itself. So here for the independent audit report, we have an unqualified opinion on the financial statements for March 31st, 2025. Unqualified of the types of audit opinions you can receive is the one you want, and in that opinion we're saying that the financial statements do present fairly in all material respects the financial position of OCN at March 31st, 2025, and its financial performance and cash flows for the year then ended in accordance with Canadian public sector accounting standards. When we do the audit, we do have to follow Canadian auditing standards in completing it, and those are very stringent requirements that we put a lot of time and effort and work into meeting. I'm the one that's up here presenting the audit this time around, but I do like to draw attention to responsibilities for financial reporting, the financial statements, and other finance-related matters. So while I'm the one up here doing the presentation, these financial statements are the responsibility of OCN's management. So folks like Jennifer, Olu, people in branch director roles, branch finance roles, and so forth. These are really OCN's financial statements, not the auditors. And it's management of OCN that's responsible for ensuring good financial practices, making sure that the community is financially sustainable, and ensuring that financial statements are free from material misstatement due to fraud or error or otherwise. It's the responsibility of those charged with governance in audit lingo, or in this setting here, Chief and Counsel and the Treasury Board, to oversee the work done by management to make sure that their responsibilities are being fulfilled properly. As far as the audit goes, our primary objective is to obtain reasonable assurance of whether the financial statements as a whole are free from material misstatement, and to issue the audit report. An auditor provides a high level of comfort, but not a guarantee, and we do audit around something called materiality, where we're looking at whether things are financially significant on their own or in combination with other things. In doing the audit, we look at what could go wrong around OCN and conduct the audit around risks. So we do a fairly formal risk assessment on each piece of the audit. We design audit procedures around those risks. We look at internal controls, which are layers of approval and ways of doing things to help plan the audit. We look at accounting policies. We look at going concern. We look at presentation of the financial statements. And because this audit is consolidated, which means that it's made up of not only the main part of the OCN government, but all the branches as well around it, we make sure that the financial information for each branch that rolls in here is sufficient and proper to form part of the combined financial statements for OCN. This year's audit report was issued yesterday, and we do communicate with those charged with governance, being the Treasury Board and Council, about the audit as a whole and audit findings. So to jump into the numbers themselves, Statement 1 is a consolidated statement of financial position. So what this shows is as of March 31st, 2025 and 2024 beside it, right at that point in time, what did OCN own, what did it owe to others, and that tells us whether the community is in a good financial position or a challenged financial position or somewhere in the middle, and helps us know how that's changing and why. So as of March 31st, 2025, OCN had about $87.6 million in the bank accounts across the main part of the government and all the branches. Restricted cash was around $27.3 million, up from 19.5 roughly in 2024. The restricted cash did increase due to some money that health had moved into restricted, as well as there were certain loans the community had that were repaid within the year. Those are very large bank balances overall, but it's really important to look at those in context to some of the obligations OCN has. These large bank balances, by and large, arose from two things. First is deferred revenue. And what deferred revenue is funding from Canada or other sources that has to be spent on certain things. And OCN is accountable back to those funders for that money. The other big thing that's driven OCN's large cash balances is long-term debt and the First Nations Finance Authority loans. Those loans were taken out a number of years ago now, and I think when you look at these cash balances, they're definitely significant and a sign of strength. It's just important to recognize, though, that the other side of the books is there are obligations to use that money for funders, and also borrowed money that sits within those figures. Accounts receivable is up 37.6 million from 24.4. Part of the driver of that number going up has been loans from OCN into the business branch or PBDC to fund the build out of the new gas bar. And as well, there were costs related to the fuel spill that happened about 2 years ago that were paid through this set of books and loaned to the gas bar operation. Loans receivable, something that had a big change year over year, are down to 274,000 from 13.6 million. Most of that 13.6 million were funds OCN loaned to Meta Growth Corporation, or High Tide is another name that company goes by. Those loans were due to be repaid within the 2025 year and were fully repaid by the cannabis company to OCN. So those loans are now off the books as the monies did get repaid. On that arrangement, OCN did see a significant amount of interest over the years that the money was lent out, and in the end it all worked out fine with the money being repaid to OCN as agreed by the cannabis company. The remaining $274,000 relates to a loan OCN advance to Opaskwayak Cree Nation as part of the closeout of the Pinisu gas bar when that was sold. There's loan payments received monthly back into OCN, and I think that loan will be fully paid back to OCN this summer. So that's another thing that worked out fine in the end with that initiative. OCN's investments are made up of primarily the business branch, which is PBDC, as well as the casino, its share of that, and Mohican Bus Lines, which is no longer running. Those investments were lower a little bit in 2025 versus 2024. The startup of the new gas bar definitely had some challenges around the fuel spill and also the provincial fuel tax holiday the province had in place through a lot of the year we're looking at, and that offset profits in other areas. Inventories this time around, there were several houses OCN had built for resale, and that was the most of the 2.8 million sitting on the books. Accounts payable and accrued liabilities were down 9.2 million from 12.8. Some of that larger balance the year before just relates to capital projects like Amisk West, and some of that, as those projects had completed, no longer had obligations on the books. Deferred revenue here rose again in 2025 from 2024, and the financial track over the years, probably 5 or 6 years prior, had been continued growth in that money. The deferred revenues are up to $69.8 million from $58.6 million. Around that, again, funders keep track of that, and OCN is obligated to use that money for the purposes in which it was intended when it was funded to OCN. And moving forward, OCN's major funding agreement comes up for renewal in a few years, and there's just generally time frames around a lot of that money. So I know several of the branches have plans for their portion of that, and I know there's certain things that OCN has been looking at through planning and priorities as well for avenues to work together. In the long run, certainly that number can't keep growing annually, or it'll be a funder issue. Long-term debt is sitting at around $62 million in both years. There's many housing mortgages with Canada Mortgage and Housing Corporation. There's the First Nations Finance Authority loans as well. All those keep getting paid down on schedule as agreed. And then as well, there were several new housing phases that completed within the year that had mortgages with CMHC. I would say that OCN's loans, by and large, are pretty friendly loans as far as it goes. CMHC mortgages, OCN receives subsidies to help operate those houses while the mortgage is outstanding, so that's pretty friendly terms. And the First Nations Finance Authority loans, well, they're very large amounts. The interest rates are generally very low because they were finalized during the pandemic. Those loans are coming up for renewal, some in 2028 and some in 2030, and there's likely some pretty big decisions the community has to make over the next couple of years to decide what to do with those. At the center of the page, we've got a net assets number here. That number, it's kind of a very high level sort of rule of thumb number on where the community is at financially. You know, when you step away, look at everything, you know, big picture, how are we doing? That number is up to $35.7 million roughly, up from 31.3. So there, with that higher number shows more financial strength for OCN. And if we were to go back probably 10 years ago, we would have seen that number was something like negative $6 million. So there's been a fair bit done here over the last 10 years to put OCN in a better financial position. When you go look at other communities, and all these financials are available online, you know, you definitely see some that are strong like OCN, and you definitely see some that are in a very challenged negative position. This positive number, again, it's a sign that OCN is in a better place than where it was years ago. For non-financial assets, the infrastructure, tangible capital assets are around 107 million, up from 85 roughly in 2024. And most of that, what it represents is the Amisk subdivision finishing within the 2025 year is a lot of the increase. And then construction in progress, where it dropped, again, mostly is the Amisk West subdivision finishing up and coming into service and use for the community. Accumulated surplus, which includes value in infrastructure, is sitting at 153 million, up from 144 million. When I step back and kind of look at the big picture of all this, again, OCN is in a lot better financial position than it used to be many years ago. The financial position did get stronger in 2025 versus 2024. And there is a lot of money in the bank, no question, but it's important to know that you know, pretty good chunk of that money is borrowed money from the FNFA, and then a good chunk of the rest is related to deferred revenue and money OCN needs to spend over the next run of years on eligible purposes to avoid clawbacks and funder issues. In terms of dollars in and out of OCN in the year, here we're seeing a few trends. So the first is that the main funding agreement with Canada covering a lot of the ISK funding and then the funding that flows through health. The overall agreement was about 95 million versus 98. This year, about 88 million was recognized, very similar to the 88 million in the prior year, based on what spending occurred. Other funders, different departments of Canada, be that public safety, heritage, CMHC, and so forth. The province of Manitoba was around 10.6 million, up from 7.6. Something kind of unique that happened after March of 2020 was there was a new funding allocation from AMC that brought in around $5 million of new money early in 2026 that related to 2025 and prior. Something that's been kind of neat as well for OCN, given the higher bank balances around the community, is with these monies, OCN has made arrangements with the bank and the FNFA to ensure that the extra money that OCN is holding right now, that there's interest paid by those holding on to OCN's money. So here, for the year, OCN has brought in almost $7.1 million of interest on these bank balances. And many years ago, when OCN was in a tighter position, it would need to go and borrow money from the bank to get through the year. And now with these higher bank balances, the banks or the FNFA are paying OCN to hold on to this extra money. And that brought about $7 million into the community, where years ago that would have been nothing because there wasn't any extra money. MKO funding was up. Other includes many different things. It was around 6.8 million, and rentals and user fees were around 3.4. In terms of expenses, and there's a couple different views of expenses within the audit format. The first one, which we'll look at here, is by functional area. So we can see $116 million was spent in 2025 versus 103 in 2024. Of that 116 million, the largest area of spend was education at 29.2. Child and Family Services was around 25.8. And in the CFS branch, there's definitely been a new focus on prevention and more dollars available there. And that's allowed them to reinvest back into the community. Health, 20.6 million was spent. That would be the next largest area. Branch services at 14.7. And you can see across the board other areas, you know, housing is a big one, infrastructure, lands, social, and so forth. So here we're showing a surplus for the year of $8.8 million. That number, it's not always the best one to look at. I think there's a better one on the next page. And when we go to the next page on statement 3, we take that surplus and we adjust for capital assets, prepaid expenses, and so forth. Here we see that there was a $4.375 million build in net assets coming off of a $9.2 million build in 2024. You know, OCN's financial position really has improved quite quickly over the last 5, 6, 7, 8 years. And we can see that it did that again this year, but at a slower rate than the year before. Statement to cash flows, you know, here again, probably the key takeaway is that there are significant bank balances. And then in context to that, again, there's substantial deferred revenue as well as borrowed money from loans. For the rest of the audit, we get into more drill downs and supporting schedules and different things like that. So I'm just going to go through kind of the things I think are interesting to talk about and highlights. First is maybe on note 1 in reporting entity. Few things here. So what makes up these financials? There were some new things that have been added in the past few years. Opaskwayak Construction Limited Partnership, Gas Bar Limited Partnership, Franchise Limited Partnership for the Chicken Chef operation, and so forth. And more recently, there was also a real estate limited partnership that was added as some of these new initiatives get going. Other things I think are notable here, if we go to, just a minute. If we go to note 3, which is on page 6 of the notes, here in note 3, we have a breakout by branch or area of the community on where these bank balances sit. So here we can see OCN, the core part of the government, around 35.5 million. CFS around 21.8. The Gaming Commission at 90,000. Land tax 517, education at 10.6, health at 17.1, and then housing is at about 1.6 million, and the care home about 404,000. Note 4 is around restricted cash. So this is monies that have been held aside either by some agreement with an external party or just to carve it off and hold it for a certain purpose. Here we can see some of this is housing, some is held on deposit with the First Nations Finance Authority. Other is part of the core OCN government. Education holds a bit. I think that's a scholarship fund, if I'm not mistaken. And health was holding around 8.8 million. Note 5 on accounts receivable, and accounts receivable are monies that are owed to OCN by someone else. Here we can see the first set of receivables is with Indigenous Services Canada. On such a large funding agreement, there's often just things that are paid after due to holdbacks or a need to report or maybe a late funding allocation that's paid after March. And that's kind of the first area. Other things here that are notable, housing rents are $7.7 million of receivables, up from 6.9. Housing rents are something that I think pretty much every community tries to work on and sometimes can be a challenging area. So that amount, there's again $7.7 million of unpaid rent carried on the books. Related entities, again, most of that is into PBDC and the business branch, and new monies were advanced over related to the gas bar. There's $5.3 million here from the Assembly of Manitoba Chiefs, and that was a multi-year funding allocation finalized just after year-end and paid to OCN. Others include MKO, the province, Public Safety Canada, other federal government departments, and then sort of a laundry list of all the different things OCN does. In terms of how getting paid is going, it's very fair to say that at times OCN has had trouble getting paid on certain amounts. Housing rents, again, sometimes are a challenge, as they are for every community, and then other receivables as well. Here we can see, again, growth in the allowance. Note 6 for loans receivable. Here again, Meta Growth Corp. What we're seeing there is that $13 million at 10% was fully repaid to OCN, which closes that chapter of that initiative. And when you look at that full turn, that lending was pretty profitable in the end. Note 7 around investments gives a breakout of the business investments and other things. And here again, it was kind of a flat year overall for that. Some of the challenges with the gas bar around the provincial fuel tax holiday, which cost pretty much every community's gas bar, some either lost sales and lower profitability, as well as the fuel spill that happened and needed cleaned up. Definitely put a damper on what the year would have been otherwise. Note 8 again, we've got housing is most of the inventory number. Note 9, here again, capital project payables were just lower based on what was going on at year end versus the year before. Deferred revenues here, these are, again, funder dollars that need to be used for certain things, and they're funding carryovers. So here we can see the first category is Indigenous Services Canada, and across the board, those carryovers grew from about 33 million to 38. So that has grown again in line with the trend from prior years. We get into First Nations and Inuit Health. Here that has also grown $8.2 million. up to $10 million. So again, that has also grown. And then across the board, for other funders and other things, again, that's gone from $17.5 million to $22 million. So we've seen growth there again, in most categories and overall. For loans, there's many loans, but they're in a couple categories. So the first is there was a loan with Caterpillar Financial. That's a pretty old one. It's paid down now. First Nations Finance Authority, and again, yes, there's a large bank balance, but a bunch of it is borrowed money. 5.1 million on one loan, 3.7 on another, 16.9 on another, 21.3 on another, and about 2.4 million on another. Some of these loans, again, the biggest one is at 2.15% interest, which is really good and reflects the time when this was all done. So it's, again, big loans, but they're fairly friendly terms. And these do come up for renewal in 2028 for a chunk and 2030 for another chunk. And in the next few years, there are some major decisions to be made on just what to do with that, either to renew at whatever new rate is there at the time, or repay, or you know, to choose what direction to go. And then the rest of the debts are really housing mortgages, most with CMHC. Some of these have very low interest, you know, some are 1.01%, some are a little higher in the 3% range, 0.8%. You know, these are all pretty friendly because there's subsidies that go with them, and obviously the community needs houses, and these loans are a way to go get more housing and get support from Canada in doing so. We get into Note 12, tangible capital assets. So here, this is infrastructure. You know, a lot of the value is in houses, the schools, which are beautiful buildings, obviously. There's money in roads, water and sewer, vehicles, equipment, computers, and so forth. For what was added within the year, again, a MISC West would be the biggest individual thing. And as well, there was a building that was purchased, and that's part of the additions within the year. Construction in progress. Here we see, again, a MISC West finishing is probably the biggest year-over-year change. Most of the rest is housing, and as well there is money kind of getting ready to do the landfill project. For other things, notes 14 and 15 probably are not real exciting. 15 is used by Canada to reconcile their funding agreement to the financials and the audit. Where I think there is kind of more interesting content is note 19 on page 18. So this gives a bit of a breakout around expenses by object. And this just slices the money that OCN spent into different categories. So of the $116 million that was spent here, salaries and benefits are by far the largest area at $47.3 million. With the higher funding levels, with the deferred revenues, with the need to go out and put that money to work, it often requires hiring people. So we do see, again, a build in the salaries line significantly year over year. Other areas that are larger here, CFS at $8,092,000, and again, a fair bit of prevention money came in there. Other big areas, social, student support, professional fees, supplies, travel's a big one, non-insured health benefits, program delivery costs, and so forth. Big picture though, with the larger funding allocations definitely comes with higher costs to go and spend that money. And you do see growth in many or most expense lines as far as that goes. And then for the last few pages, we get into a bit more of a split out of the numbers. So this goes and just cuts different numbers by functional area or branch and kind of rolls up to the same total. So big picture, again, on this part, OCN's financial position, it did get stronger, again, for 2025 versus 2024. There is a big amount of money in the bank, but again, a lot of it is borrowed or needs to be spent on certain things in line with funding agreements. And while the community is in a lot better place financially than it was years ago, you know, I think the real challenge of the next few years is going to be unlocking the value in those deferred revenues and putting that money to work, and then making good decisions around the First Nations Finance Authority loans and what happens with that money when those loans come up for renewal. So that would be what I wanted to talk about on this document. I've got two more, remuneration of chief and council, as well as remuneration of senior unelected officials. Before I open it to questions, I will note there are prints of this, I think, available at the front, and this will be available for sure on the ISK website once they post it, and I think through the OCN administration offices as well. Copies are available. Olu, before questions, do you have any comments to add?
Just to say thank you to the audit firm, and also to reiterate that OCN is in a better position year on year. It's been surplus, and we've not had deficit in the last 3 years. And the big challenge is to continue to consolidate on the progress that has been made, improve the business harm. A lot of times you go to the VLT, which is our own source revenue. It did about 20% better than it did last year. So the VLT is bringing a lot of cash to OCN. So that being said, Dion will do the two other presentations. Then we'll do some giveaways. Then we'll take questions after that. Thank you.
All right, so that said, we'll move into the two other documents I've got. So the first of the other documents is a schedule of remuneration paid to chief and council. This document is available when it'll be posted, which should be soon, on the ISC website. And I believe a copy is also available from OCN if anybody is looking for one after. What we do on this document is called a review engagement. The need to do this reporting in this way is driven by the First Nations Financial Transparency Act that Canada brought in many years ago. So there's a standardized way. This is all done and reported. And with this, obviously, if you go on the ISK website, because they post OCNs, again, you can see what elected officials at most any community are paid. What we do here, it's a review engagement, and that's driven out of what's required by ISK to meet the First Nations Financial Transparency Act requirements. Here on our review, nothing has come to our attention that causes us to believe that this is not fairly presented in line with the ISK reporting guide. So as far as the numbers themselves go, here we've got a table of the elected officials that were on council during the 2025 year. For the most part, everybody was in the seats for 12 months, but there was a split year between Joel Pelly and Franklin Young. And for remuneration, as has been the tradition and precedent, the chief sees higher remuneration than council members. So the chief Brown of the day was $129,000, and council members were generally in the $70,000 range, but for the split year with Joel Pelly and Franklin Young. As far as expenses go, you can see on the right what those are, and the amounts vary depending on individual and role. Obviously, Councillor Hester stands out with no expenses for travel whatsoever, and our understanding is that Councillor Hester just simply didn't travel, resulting in no costs. And the rest would vary, again, by role, what branch they're involved in, and how much travel was actually done. Broadly, I think these numbers are probably ballpark similar to what they typically are for OCN, but these are the numbers, the individuals, and what was spent on these things. The next document is a schedule of remuneration and expenses paid to unelected senior officials. This one, again, is also a product of the First Nations Financial Transparency Act that Canada passed. And here again, we're following the ISK reporting guide and doing a review engagement in line with the ISK requirements. And here our conclusion is that nothing has come to our attention to cause us to believe this is not fairly presented in line with the ISK reporting guide. It is notable here that this document does not get posted publicly on Canada's website. This is provided by OCN to the community, it's provided by OCN to ISK, and is not posted by ISK for the whole world to see. The format of this, again, is driven by the reporting guide. Some of it sets up in maybe not always the most intuitive way, just because of how that's configured. Here we've got various positions, the number of months the individual was in the position for, and then salary ranges for those folks. And in the lingo that comes out of the reporting guide, there's a category called other remuneration, and travel does count as other remuneration for the purpose of the reporting. So where the column on the right shows expenses reimbursed as part of other, that would be the travel within the other column. And where you see those numbers match, it basically would indicate that those amounts are all travel. And that is kind of counterintuitive unless you've got your head around how this all sets up. So there is a footnote here at the bottom, again saying that what expenses reimbursed is comprised of. But yeah, these are the titles, the ranges, and the amounts, and so forth. And if you look in kind of a province of Manitoba context, or even a federal government context, but to speak on the province, folks working in government sector organizations in Manitoba, there's kind of an equivalent disclosure in that world. It's similar to this, but slightly different. But yeah, these are the numbers by role, number of months, salary range, and other, which is for the most part travel. So yeah, that's what I've got to cover on these. Olu.
Thank you, Dion. Before we'll open it up for question, I'll give you back to the MC to conduct the
Thank you very much, Dion Hulu. While they're up here, if you have any questions on the audit or what was presented, just a reminder also, this afternoon will be dedicated to questions and answers. Riley, do we have an extra mic? There's a mic coming there, Riley.
In the financial state. Statement, does it read regarding check?
Investing into the treasuries of the United States, and right now it's gone nuts. So if we're not careful, the band and the staff are going to lose most of their money. So we got to be careful on that. That's just one concern I had.
Thank you. On that, we normally do a yearly review with the pension administrator to see where they put the monies. Yeah, you're right. Some of the money are invested in the United States, but the bulk of it is invested here in Canada. So we do a continuous review, but we'll take a cue from what you have said. We have an annual review coming up in May, so we'll bring up this issue and also address it. Thank you.
Any more questions? Sam? That elder right beside you there.
Thank you. So it sounds like it's a Happy New Year?
Yes, it is an Happy New Year.
Good morning. Just looking at all your assets there, not assets, your loans you have for OCN. Just for next year, for next audit, maybe look at some options. If we knock off 6 or 7 loans, how is our financials going to look? Because I think if you bring those options to the community, then you can actually have that transparency in how we're used for our money based on that. And I know with our, I'm not too sure we're at with that 4-bay agreement with Manitoba Hydro, but next time if we do have an opportunity to negotiate the team in that, see if we can get Hydro for our membership for each house. Because the way it is right now is increasing. I with having that kind of plan in place and long term, you know, is going to benefit all households. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. So just a bit of explanation on that. The FNFA borrowing, the maturity is 2028 and there's one for 2030. Now, the beauty of that is that half of that money is in the bank untouched. You have 20 million untouched or out of that borrowing. So the total exposure of the nation is about 21 to 25 million. So that's the exposure. And half of that is an investment. So when the time comes for the maturities of this fund, we're going to sit with FNFA and renegotiate those loans. The beauty of it is that OCN is not missing in terms of repayment, in terms of interest. We are not defaulting. But when these loans were taken, OCN was so fortunate, the interest rates are very minimal. If you look at Bank of Canada, the interest rates plus T now, it's 6%. But these loans are about 2.3. So what you have said, we'll sit down again. When it's that time, we'll have a community meeting, bring it up here, we'll all discuss it and look at the way forward. Then on the hydro negotiation, Chief and Council, they're doing a whole lot. I'll allow the Chief to talk about that.
The 4B is in court right now. I just want to report on that. We are all aware, or some of you should be aware of the 4B is in court. They're talking to our elders right now, the land-based users of east of us, all those trap lines, all the users of the area. So the judge is going to be ruling probably within, I'm going to guesstimate here, probably a month. So that's another influx of revenue going to be hitting our system. We will bring that to the community on the outcome of that because that's going to be that's not going to be $1 million. That's going to be a huge influx of money. That's the federal. When we did, for the ones that remember here, the 4B when Opaskwayak, the Poignan band that time sued Hydro for the mass destruction of the dams, and we received $1,000 in 1992, I think that was, 91, 92. So when the feds funded the province, Opaskwayak, to pursue a suit to provincial government and Hydro, they said when you sue them, when you're done dealing with the province, you can come and sue us for damages too. So that's where we're at right now. So we are in court with the federal government, and our legal team is calling on elders that before. I'm glad that we have some elders that were children at a time when with their families on the trap line before the dams, how plentiful it used to be. And when the dams came in, what the damage of the land and the way of life transformed at the hands of the the provincial government in settling and putting these dams into our traditional territories. Right now, we're in the middle of two monsters right now, I'll call them these dams. E.B. Campbell on the west side. On the east side is the Grand Rapids Dam. So we're smack in the middle with the water flow that we don't have control of, but Manitoba Hydro. So that's what we're pursuing right now. So the findings was the low end. I do believe council was $235 million was the low end payment. A little higher, and then to $3 billion for lifestyle damages from the federal government. So this is not in our control. The judge is going to read a ruling of what we are entitled to. It might be in the middle somewhere, it might be higher. We're praying it's higher because of the land has been destroyed. Our way of life has been destroyed. Our connection to Mother Earth has been destroyed. Our water has been contaminated. Spring season's here. When's the last time we've tasted a tender muskrat on the table? It's been decades since we've done that. We eat geese, muskrats, beavers. All of that stuff has been contaminated at the hands of the provincial government in respects to Manitoba Hydro. So, and sturgeon, even the pickerel are not as healthy as they used to be. The lakes, yes, but our waterways, no. They're not as healthy as unplentiful as they've been in 1960 versus 2026. That's what, and we ask ourselves, why is the diabetes going so high? Our elders of yesterday ate all that healthy food. They lived off the plants, the water, the animals, and the trapping of that era. So the diabetes rate wasn't high. But the family, what Gutuin was tremendously strong back then, living and supporting each other. So a long answer is, we're going to probably about a month, the federal government, and I mean the judge will come out with a ruling. We will bring that back to you as what the offering is. To accept it, I'm pretty sure that's going to be the final offer. So pray, because I see babies in our room that are never going to see or experience to fillet a fish, to eat a muskrat, or skin a muskrat, or live off the land. That's going to be deprived of these babies of today. That's an impact. That's the price that having these dams in our territory destroyed the way of life. So we will have, this is going to be totally different next when we talk about cows and plows and influx of money coming in, the forebay coming in. So it's not going to be $153 million. You're going to be looking at a substantial amount of money next year in the audit. So all of that comes to use. This table will not move money around and tell us what to do with it. You're going to tell us what to do with it. This table is just going to sign off these agreements. And when we accept cows and plows, when we accept the forebay, you are going to tell us to sign it and accept it. That's not how this works, where we just sign off everything. You tell us. And that's going to change. $153 million is going to be a substantial amount of money in that audit next year. There's going to be plenty of money to go around next year. So we think it's heavy. Yes, it's healthy right now. It's going to be a lot healthier in the next year. A lot healthier. But you look at the money right there. Look at the land. I can't stress this enough. Look at the land and the destruction of yesterday. At the price of diabetes, at the price of addictions, at the price of homelessness. You can't put a price on that, ladies and gentlemen. As a human being, you can't. It's good to be healthy financially, but here and here we need to heal this, so we can ensure our future secure, our generations coming. That's what we need to fight for. That's the reward of all of this. There's a greater reward after this. I just thought I would share that with you. Thank you. Ask the questions to Mr. Dion here. If you have any financial questions, we're here to answer them for you.
Thank you, Chief. Is there any other question?
Chief,
that's a one-shot number you got in there, eh? And then you say it's plus. What about 20 years or 30 years down the line? I think we can negotiate a lot better than that. I would negotiate for every year that we get a large amount of money, because your grandkids and that are going to be suffering in 20, 30 years down the line, maybe 40 years. There won't be nothing. That's how I would negotiate that instead of just getting one lump sum in that negotiation.
Thank you for that question, Dennis. One of the things we need to keep in mind when it comes to hydro, and I think they've stated that our elders that have went forward and our former leaders that went forward to that hit the bench in Winnipeg, was free hydro. All the benefits that we can secure there for the future. If we allow money to guide us, we've lost our way of life. We've totally surrendered our way of life, and that can't be the way and the only way. Yes, it's good to have that in the bank, but you know what? We've been in that church every day, burying our people. I don't want this to go on. We've suffered greatly as a community. We've suffered greatly. Are we getting Neptune here or Mars, or who's listening in here? Government. But you know, it's I can't express that enough. Yes, we can on the cows and plows, yes, we can really consider all of those benefits and all of those, because there's not going to be another benefit of its kind in the future. So we got to really secure what we're negotiating as a council for the future generations that are going to benefit from this. It can't be just a one-time payment. It's got to be a long-term benefit that this revenue has got to generate money for us. It needs to generate money for us. That's how we got to think together on this. So thank you for that. We will come back to the membership. Everything that I do, you're going to know when we're moving forward, any agenda. So that's called transparency. You want to walk with us? Let's walk into the future together. That's what this table is about. So, Dennis, that I'm looking forward to walking with each and every one of you in the future at Opaskwayak through transparency and accountability. That's what the future should look like.
Yeah, I just want to make a quick comment to that there. I've said it in the chambers too before to our colleagues, and we all think this. We all think alike. And if we get these influx of funding into our coffers, and if we play our cards right, we could put that in a GIC and live off the interest for a century. If we just played our cards right, because if we put 500 million into GIC or savings, we could live off probably, if we get a good rate, we'd probably live off about 10 million to 50 million to 100 million a year just off the interest. So I think that's, if we could do that and play the cards right, and this leadership has the same, continue to have that same goal to leave that money sitting there, we could build, it'd be, there's no limit to what we could do if we play that right. Just wanted to let you know.
Like, it's wonderful to see all these big numbers, you know, with the cash in the bank and everything else. But, you know, where's the human side of this? Like we're losing a whole generation, probably 1 or 2 generation of young people, to alcohol and drugs. I haven't heard of, providing a healing center for our youth. The youth are crying out for help out there. They have to go far away from their communities to try and get help. We need to look at our youth, help us, we need to help build them up. And we need them to get educated and to start working for the band. We should be hiring our own people to be doing the work for us. Like, just provide training for our young people. Those are the generations that are going to be taking over. Mamitunene mikayot, uskatisak tawichiaguk. It's very painful to hear about all our young people passing away when there's no need for it. We have to start working with our young people. Get them back into school, get them trained, come back, to the community. And if they do take the initiative to go and seek, treatment for them by themselves, they should be rewarded by the community, not just the one person being rewarded, recognized. We all have to appreciate our youth, like we always talk about youth when we're campaigning or when we're presenting something to the community. But, in the end, we forget about our youth. And the one question I wanted to ask is, how much of the accounting work has the accounting firm been doing for OCN? Like, that's what I'd like to know. I'd like, all the accounting to go back to where it belongs, not for the auditors to be auditing their own accounting. That should be the goal, that we do go back to the way it was before, where we provide all the information. Like, with the professional fees here, they rose from 4.5 to over 6 million. And how much is that, for accounting fees or audit fees? That's what I'd like to know.
All right, thank you, Lina. You're good thing you're part of accounting, so question. So one thing we did this year differently from last year, which the auditor can test. All 95% of the accounting jobs were done by accountants, the likes of Brenda, Jennifer Dion, unlike what it was previous year. So what we did at the beginning of this audit, I told the auditors we want to do the accounting jobs by ourselves so that they can form an opinion. So for this particular audit, about 95% of the accounting were done. The reconciliation were done by the accountants. The bookkeeping were done. Now, we will not deny the fact that there was a transition and that the auditors had to help. But where we are today, we have every bit of accounting manned by staff. The AP, the AR, the bank reconciliation are all done by ourselves. So what the auditor does is to form opinion and ask questions. So for the other bit of your question, I'll allow the chief to answer that in respect of the youth and healing center.
Thank you, Ulu, for your response. Ladies and gentlemen, and I thank you for that question, Elder, for raising that on the youth's behalf, because this year, this council is going to build that youth and elders center, so they can have their own home. They can have the elders can be part of it. The elders can contribute by listening and communicating and networking with the youth. I think that youth center, elder center, is going to be tremendously beneficial to our community. It's going to be a landmark, so our elders can assist our youth, because They're lost. Our young people of today, it's hard. It's a hard time to live in Opaskwayak right now, or any nation across Canada. But we are investing into those for them, those facilities. When it comes to addictions, this table has invested into a treatment center, a transition center, so we can heal our people. The other gap that we got to be mindful of is the follow-up. When we send a series of members to treatment, there's no follow-up. There's a gap there. And then they get back on the road they were just on. They fall back on the road. They find that same road they were on. So we look at the likes of an employment and training center. CFS is doing their 21-day program, and right now, as we speak, it starts today. And we're investing into homes. So when you see our members and our young people moving, and OES is doing a tremendous amount of investments when it comes to sponsorship. So you look at the possibility of education, or else it's going to be addictions, employment, housing, but there's no gap there now. That's what we're trying to fill right now. We're trying to fill that gap. That's the crucial part right now, the component where our members with the mental health or the addictions, they fall back into where they came from. That gap is what we're filling right now. Because we say go work in Winnipeg or go work in Alberta or that's not, we shouldn't be doing that. We want to allow them to stay home, to have those jobs you referenced and invest into that. That's what we're forward thinking for our young people, so they feel appreciated and they feel that hope has a light now. Of course, hope is not there right now for our young people, and they fall into addictions. Well, let's pick them up, take care of them. That's what this table wants to do. So thank you for that question, Lena. Hopefully I answered it. That we need to, because I'm going to say this to everybody. We're not guaranteed tomorrow. That's a sad reality right now. But we can plan for the future for our community. So the brightness will only get brighter for their generation. That's what we're here to leave. We're here to leave that for them, that foundation for them. We owe that to them. The next generation of administrators. My job is temporary. But if I can leave a path or leave hope, I know I've done and fulfilled my job. Because right now it was not there. And as your leader, I want to leave that. The infrastructure, the employment opportunities, and the financial benefits for the future. That's what I want to leave. But I need your help. I can't do this alone. I need your help, ladies and gentlemen, so we can piece this puzzle together for Opaskwayak right now. So thank you. I'm always going to talk about yous, not about me. It's you I work for.
Thanks, Chief. I just wanted to make another comment of the topic. I sit on the health board as the chairman. It's been our top priority at health for a long time, was the treatment center. And we have a Class C estimate. Everything's good. We have a group of we have a group of staff that work hard to make that goal come to fruition with the treatment center. We're knocking on all the doors with the provincial government, the federal government, Manitoba Shared Health, even our Norman Regional Health Center is on our side. So we have all the connections. We're just waiting for the funding. We have the service plans, the blueprints, everything. We also need the land transfer that we're waiting for, and our premier has promised us that he's going to work on it with us alongside with us. Thank you to Lori for bringing that up with Bob. So it is on the roll. We're gaining momentum. We're knocking on all the doors. We're meeting with all the high-end government officials, the ministers, all the people we need to meet with. We're knocking down those doors. So hopefully we could get that, because I know that our chief and our counselors, they're very passionate about that treatment center, and they want that up. So that's what we're going to be working for this term. Thank you, Lena, for that.
I want to talk about this. Deferred is 37 million, right? That's part of it? 69 million deferred right there. Deferred money is, you can use it in multiple installments for projects for Opaskwayak. You defer to the next year, and so on. So we've been doing that. It looks like that is a substantial amount of money. This is for projects for infrastructure, for health, for treatment centers, for all of those projects we want, because if we don't spend that money and it's sitting in our books, Prime Minister Carney can say, no, you don't need it. It's sitting in your books for the past 4 years. Why do you need it? You'll take it back. So we need to spend that money, Opaskwayak. That's why I'm saying it's going to look totally different. We need to invest, whether it's going to be a treatment healing center or expansion on the health center of second and third phase, that money needs to be spent. If we're going to do the employment and training in the tech walk, that's the investment we're going to do. All of that money needs to be spent, because within the hour, the government can say, well, we're taking that back. You don't need it because it's sitting there and you're not doing anything with it. So right now, this table, and along with the executive table, we're going to come up with, we're going to plan to sit and have a deferred discussion on who's going to be rewarded this fund. So we can earmark for branches how this money is going to be spent, because we got to report on it. That's not free money, ladies and gentlemen. We still have to report on that. And it needs to be spent. And when we will spend it. It's what the elder is saying, well, spend it. So yes, we will. That's a little bit explanation on the 69 million that's sitting there on deferred. We will spend it. And we will invest it. So what we're thinking is, this money needs to be revenue generating programs. Whether it be addiction centers are going to generate revenue. A care home will generate revenue. Employment and training is an investment for the future of training of our young people. That's an investment. The return is greater when you build an employment training center, because your young people are getting the tools for tomorrow. That's what you're investing in. Make them stronger. I just wanted to speak about this, because the council's going to be planning a deferred spending exercise in the near future and how we're going to allocate this money. It's at the discretion of this table where this money is being spent for their branches. So, Councillor Laurie, you wanted to say a few words here.
Thank you, Chief. I just wanted to inform you, yesterday we had an incident, well, not an incident, I guess we had to deal with a couple of band members. One of them came to our office asking for help. And you know, it hurts me too. It hurts all of us when we see our young people. You know, they're reaching out for help. And we know there's a treatment center coming along the way. We know we have the money to build it. But that's going to take some time, but it will start hopefully by this spring. Don't quote me on that, but that's what we're hoping for. But in the short term, what we are going to do is purchase 2 ATCO trailers for the immediate need for our young people that come to us today that are reaching out for that help. And the plan is to work with health and the policing, and actually, you know, all branches need to get involved. The plan is to hopefully have some nurses there with policing to help the young people in these trailers. So that's something right now that we plan to do for the immediate need. Thank you.
Thank you, Laurie. It's getting close to lunchtime. Don't forget, Dion's going to make himself available this afternoon. This afternoon is basically all question and answer periods this afternoon from 1 to 5. Riley.
I was just talking about this audit. Okay, I don't know how many of us in this room understand accounting or even basic accounting, and including staff and chief and council and the band membership. So if we're going to do something to help ourselves, is to understand it, is by training, by educating ourselves, by getting a program out there to educate everybody, every band member on basic accounting, so we can understand Ulu and Tilly here, what they're talking about. And on top of that, the staff, to understand what they only understand line by line budgets. That's all they do. That's all they understand. And that's only one part. They miss the whole part. And we need every band member, every staff, every chief and council to understand the whole in order for us to be able to get ahead. Thank you.
Thank you, Elder, for that one. I know the basic finances for just the day-to-day stuff too. You need to understand that what does the influx of hydro is going up 18%. The influx of food is going up 23%. The influx of fuel is going up 26%. All of these things are numbers. And I'll put to task Opaskwayak to come up with a basic financial training so we can bring awareness to the general public when it comes to the day-to-day numbers of living. Because a lot of our people, our money hits our account, our money's out. Our money hits our account, our money's out. So how do you invest your money? How do you plan for your money? What are the benefits of investing or bonds? And say tomorrow we gave out cows and plows and everybody got 40 grand and you're clueless on how to manage this money. We need to prepare for that. We need to prepare for what the possibilities or the impacts of cows and plows is going to bring to our nation financially. So it only strengthens our systems when we have those basic training sessions with our community. Let's start with the youth. We'll start with the elders because the elders are on fixed incomes. when we'll bring that awareness out to the community. We'll have Jennifer, our finance team. I'm going to put you to task to set up a basic finance training for our community. If you want that, our community is going to come and participate, right? If we have a $200, 200 room seating capacity and 2 people show up, we need more people to come and join and participate so we can all benefit through the audit. What is the audit? What is that? What are those? What is the income statement? What is a financial statement? What is a budget? All of those things we need to understand is what Riley's asking. So when we're dealing with our young people, they know what to get to when they become nurses, when they become doctors, when they become teachers, when they become accountants, when they become policemen, when they become all of these great people. They'll know the basic living of finances and how they're going to take care of themselves and their families. So, Lester, Bev, Nicole, or Ulu, we're going to come up with a plan. Yes. Even our branches, participate. When that call out comes, please come and participate. HR, come out and participate. So we can come up with a plan, a healthy financial moving forward plan for our community. And we'll participate too as a council table. How was that? Riley, where did you go? You asked me a question. That's just back there.
Elder Norman, don't go too far. We're going to ask you to bless the food. We're going to do some draws first. Councillor?
Let's thank Dion so that I can go back to city.
Let's thank him.
Okay.
Let's thank him. Okay. All right, OCN, if there's no other questions, I want to thank our auditor. On our behalf, he was a young gentleman when he walked into our lives a few decades ago, 22 years ago. So I want to thank him. So can we give him a round of applause for being our brother and walking with us? Thank you, my friend, for our corporate relationship. You've walked with us through the years. So thank you, OCN.
Thank you very much, Chief. Now we're going to do some draws here. You got red tickets. Take out your red tickets and we'll get Councillor... Oh, blue ticket, sorry. They gave me a wrong ticket. It won't be my number, I guess. The first one is for a $100 ESSO card? Okay, Derek, who do you got? Okay, blue ticket, 230-600. 230-600. You won a $100 gift card. Hey, my niece.
Thank you.
Keep drawing. How many more you got? Lori? $100 gift card to Shane's Music. 230562. 562. $100 gift certificate to Shane's Music. 230-562. Marlene, wait, oh, Marlene Head. $50 Canadian Tire card. Canada Store. Oh. Oh, the chief draws a like a ticket here. 230582. 582. Where is it? All righty. Yeah, just leave it here. Oh, here you go.
Perfect, thank you.
That's it? Are we drawing another one? Okay. Hurry up, my phone's ringing. Okay, Councillor Martin. $100 Visa card. 100? 100? $50. Oh, 50. $50 Visa card. 230610. 610. I heard a bingo over here.
My ED.
Can we keep going?
Let's verify.
Do I get to keep going with
Yes.
it? Oh, you take it? Yeah, we'll put it back for the next one.
It's all good.
Oh, okay. I mean,
Yeah, we'll put them back.
okay. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Another $50 Visa card?
Another $50 Visa card. Councillor Chipper. 230609. 609. 230609. Brenda. Councillor Partridge. $100 Best Buy card. Card? Okay. 230634. 634. Utea Stam. Leona Paul, you won $100. $100 Best Buy.
Want to do a challenge online? Whoever texts me first, get sent $100. Okay. All right, online, I'm going to put a challenge out to you. Hello, everybody online out there in Facebook world. Whoever texts the chief first, you're going to win $50. You should know my number. I'm going to put her out there. Text me. Facebook. Text me, whoever texts me first, your name. I'll go pick up my phone. All right, Facebook. I have my phone. I'm going to text me your name.
Still waiting for the name. So we're going to make another draw while he's waiting. Everybody's looking for his number. Okay, we have 2, 4, 6 chairs and a table, coffee table. All right, Chief, you're picking this one. Yepper.
I'm going to read it in Cree.
All right.
Back. Just kidding. Yeah.
230597. 597, you won yourself tables and a table and 6 chairs. Five, 9, 7. 597. Are you still looking for the chief's number? Look at your tickets for now. 597. Nobody? 597. You just show me your muscles, or do you have the ticket? Okay. 597, one last time. Okay. Chief? Helen McGilvery. Okay, we need another ticket. Yeah, redraw, yeah. We're going to redraw. Go ahead, Chief. Redraw, not meat draw. Pretty close. 230599. 599. Ken Laughlin, you've won yourself. Are you going to carry them out right now? Ken Laughlin wins himself a table and 6 chairs. Okay, what else are we doing? Eh?
He can take the PO there. That's for the.
Oh, okay. You can pick these up at your leisure. The PO is there, behind there, Ken. Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much.
All right. Congratulations. Okay, what are we doing now? 2 more? 2 more, and then we'll get Elder Norman Head to bless the food for us. We'll have some lunch, and we'll reconvene at 1 o'clock. I think somebody's going to win some pictures. Selfies with the chief. Okay, ACDC. ACDC. There we go. Is that a concert there, Counselor? Eh? With the Pretty Reckless, 2 tickets to one night, September 20, total $14.90, 2 tickets. Here we go. 230661. What is that? Just kidding. 3. Is that a 3? Is that a 3 or an 8?
Oh, I think that's an 8.
Says we're checking over the number here. JP? Is that an 8 or a 3? That an 8? Okay, the MC was wrong. 230618. 618. She's going to go see ACDC. Elder Gloria. You can take Roland. There we go. We got it. Thanks.
So this next one is for a $50 Visa card,
Okay, the next one is for a $50 Visa card.
$50 Sephora card, or a $100 Sephora card?
Altogether?
Yeah. Or you want me to say them?
No, I just want to know.
$100, yeah, altogether.
Okay, $100
Sephora,
Sephora
$25 Subway, $25 A&W.
altogether?
Altogether.
Okay, we got a big prize here. Okay, Councillor?
Yeah, 300 or 400, yeah.
Valued at $400, I believe. And the winner is 230-556. 556. $400 worth of, hey! Hey, cuz, my birthday's tomorrow.
All in Winnipeg?
You can pick up your travel tomorrow. Okay.
Two $50 Visa cards.
Okay, last one is for two $50, two or two separate draws?
Two separate.
Two separate draws. $50 Visa card, right?
Yeah.
Okay. 230-555. 555. Wait. Yeah, 555. Kim Whitehead, $50.
And then one more.
One more? Here, Laurie, draw me a lucky one there. 230-643. 643. Who? Bev Harris, $50. And hang on to your
Tickets, yeah. Yeah, we'll put them back in.
Yeah, they'll put them back.
They took mine.
And that's it for this morning. There will be other big draws this afternoon after lunch sometime. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Where is he? If everybody could please stand, we'll get Elder Norman Head to say grace. Please remove your hats, please. Please stand. Okay, Norm. Ewa si Tapay si Norman. Elders Nigan. Namit Swak.
All right, everybody, thank you for this morning. It's been a good information morning for the information through the audit. I know I will be stepping out of the room for the funeral for the late Gordon Constant. I'm going to leave Edith to chair the meeting. Just kidding. So the rules are there. Let's respect one another. Let's honor one another in a good way. Online, thank you for coming on. We will reconvene at 1 o'clock, or we're staying on, sir? We'll reconvene at 1 o'clock so you can sign back on. Thank you for being with us this morning. God bless your homes and God bless your families. Here's it. Thank you very much.
All right, so that's going to conclude the first half of today's AGM, or annual general meeting at Opaskwayak Cree Nation. They're going to do a lunch break, and we'll go here through the agenda real quick. I put it up a little bit earlier, but it was kind of a little bit later than I expected. So they had the opening prayer this morning. They had the Cree word of the day. They also did the breakfast introductions, the opening remarks. They also did the audit report, and now we're on to lunch. When we come back from lunch, it'll be open house with the different branches. There'll be a supper and a closing prayer. So that's all going to happen at 1 o'clock. Yeah. And yeah, annual general meeting will resume after the break, which will be in about 45 minutes from now. My name is Arriagada. If you guys want to add me or follow me on Facebook, you can find me there. I don't know if I'll try to look this up real quick before I break off. Yeah, I won't be able to. I'll set it up for the next one. But yeah, you guys can find me easily. I'm the guy that streamed this. Here's my picture. You can find me under Arriagada Q Sports Live, Manitoba. That's how you find me. And yeah, we'll be back with another half of the stream in about 45 minutes from now. Everybody's getting busy to get some lunch, man. And don't forget that we're also going to be streaming the funeral for MLA Amanda Lathan. That's going to be on Saturday. I'm not sure exactly what time that starts at, but you're going to be able to tune in to watch it here as well. All right, so we'll be back with another stream in about 45 minutes. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Cheers.